Hey everybody, how you doing? Uncle Vinny here. You know what's coming up? That's right, Health Chat. Grab a cup of coffee, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. When we first started with you, your squat was terrible. Okay, it wasn't good. It wasn't good. But you were lifting a lot of weight.
Yeah.
You know, and what was happening was all of the stress wasn't taken up in the area that needed to be taken up. So what I want you to do is I want you to do a functional squat for me.
The way I was doing them.
Well, just do it normal now because I want to see what it looks like.
Oh, well.
See how you bend forward like that? When you would squat, you're squatting in this position, so you would be leaning forward. As you were leaning forward, all of that pressure was going into that low back. You are not the only person that does that. I can't tell you how many people that come in here that lift weights and have hurt their backs because they have the same problem with that iliopsoas pulling forward. We can work that iliopsoas, we can stretch that iliopsoas, but sometimes we actually have to change the way we do things, and we're going to show that. But one of the things that I find really interesting is what muscles get engaged. Put your hands on your tush.
Oh, on my tush. Okay.
Now do a normal squat. You don't feel it engaged, do you? You feel a little bit.
Well, it's not as engaged, but I also, over years, I've consciously squeezed. But
and you're supposed to with the squatting.
Yeah.
So what I want people to see now is I want you to put your heels up against this here. Now we can use a half foam roller, or we can use a 2x4. What I want you to do is do a normal squat, hands up in the air again, normal squat. See the difference? Mm-hmm. Now you still lean forward slightly, but not bad. Now touch the tush muscles again. Now do it. Do you feel it engage?
oh yeah, much more.
Yeah. So
in my hips as
exactly. So what happens is when we're doing this, if we don't engage the buttocks muscles, we don't engage the quadriceps, the hamstrings, what's going to happen is we're going to get it into the weakest link, which is right here. And that's where we're going to damage it. And what happens is it's like taking a piece of metal and keep bending. The more you bend it, the more it gets hotter and hotter and hotter. And eventually, you'll increase inflammation, you'll start having back pain, and then you can't work out. But
well. Which is exactly what I did to myself.
Yes. So what's the fix at the gym for you? I like it. So you don't have to say that anymore.
Well, it kind of feels good.
Okay. You like that?
No, I will use like the 2.5 or 5 pound plates. A lot of times it depends on what shoes I'm wearing, so how much heel I already have, and then I will grab something about, that much, half inch maybe.
But you
extra.
are using lifting shoes.
Yes, on top of my lifting shoes.
Right. So people go out and buy lifting shoes, which are great, but sometimes we need that little extra. And one of the tests is if you're in this position, that functional squat, and you're coming down, and as soon as you start bending forward, then you want to add a little bit of height. If you can add a little bit of height to that, what happens is that you decrease that. See, normally, I could do a pretty good squat without, too much effort. I don't lean forward. Plus, I don't sit at a desk all the time either.
Yeah.
And the core is real important. Do you remember the core exercise I gave you?
Which one?
The dysfunctional breathing
several.
one. Remember the dysfunctional breathing?
Yeah.
How hard is it to do dysfunctional breathing?
Especially when you are also working out, it's pretty hard.
And you just did
Yeah.
you came from the chest. So what we were talking about, dysfunctional breathing, is we're breathing right from this abdomen. Mm-hmm. So breathe in, they say use your chest again. Breathe in, and so your belly goes out. But what happens is we have to pull that diaphragm down. As we pull that diaphragm down, we're engaging different muscle groups. And what happens is we then splint the lumbar spine. We tighten up those core muscles. Even though you're pushing out, they're still tightening up, which will decrease a lot of the pain and tension while you're working out. Mm-hmm. So we have to practice that. So when you're doing a squats or you're exercising or running, you want to get that abdominal dysfunctional, or you want that abdominal breathing to do. You want to be able to do that abdominal breathing so that way your core stays tighter. Yep. The more tight we can keep that core, the less chance we're going to have of that. Plus, sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes it will literally help with that iliopsoas muscle tension back in there. But sometimes we just have short iliopsoas muscles because it ties into the lumbar spine all the way into the pelvic floor. And its job is to flex that muscle. So in order for us to do it right, we can't, we have to loosen that up, or we have to change our biomechanics. Now, I want you to do that functional squat one more time, but this time, I want you to try doing it without that and trying not to bend forward.
Hands overhead?
Yes.
Well, we know what's going to happen, so.
There you are there. So what I want you to do, stand up. I want you to do it and try not to go forward and see, watch what happens. I'm going to be behind you because
You gonna catch me?
Yes, I will.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's a really good test for people to say, okay, here's my functional squat. I can't do it properly, so this is what I'm going to end up doing. I'm going to fall backwards. If you're falling backwards in a regular squat, you're going to really injure yourself because when you have the bar back here, you're trying not to go forward. You're trying to keep it straight, and now you're putting more pressure on that low back, and that's where we get all the pain. Not only that, will start affecting the low back, and will start affecting the mid and the cervical spine. So a lot of times we're trying to compensate for this. It's just like going up that line. We're trying to keep everything straight, and we're concentrating on that, and then now we're throwing off the rest of our biomechanics, and it's when people are getting hurt, and they end up in the office.
Yeah.
You did good, by the way.
Yeah.
You did good. Listen. You've come a long way since we first started.
I mean, I'm very happy with how I'm progressing, and so yeah, I mean, I can feel the difference, especially when I'm doing those squats. I've honestly, because now I'm aware of my limitations. I knew I had some limitations coming in, and I was choosing to tell myself I could work past them, and then I got hurt. And so it's like you kind of reaffirmed some of the problems that I did know, and then helped me acknowledge some new ones that I didn't know. And so I'm really focusing on that when I'm working out. And
is it okay to modify?
Yes. Yes. It's important to modify because if you don't, you could hurt yourself and not be able to, for example, work out
exactly
at all. So
modification is not a problem. And people think that, oh, I'm getting older, I have to modify, I can't do that. Well, I'm a little older now. I'm what, 28 now, and don't I wish? But I have to modify. There's certain things I can't do. Like I was able to, and I think I told you the story. What started me working out was I was sitting. Really quick story. I don't know if I told you this, but I was sitting in bed. We're up at the Biltmore Estates. My daughter was singing there, and I'm sitting on the bed eating wings. Mm-hmm. My wife is with me, and P90X comes on. I'm watching Tony Horton do all of this stuff, and I'm sitting there, and we can do that. So I get on the phone, and I ordered P90X, okay? I get it. It gets sent to the house. I picked up the box. I took it upstairs. I was out of breath, and I was like, "Ooh, I'm really tired." So I left it there. It sat there for almost 2 months.
Yeah.
It's almost 2 months. And then somebody came into my office and said, "Hey, I've been doing P90X. Here's my before and after pictures." And I looked at it and I went, whoa. That night I opened that box up and started doing P90X. And it literally started changing my whole biomechanics, number one. And number two, I felt better. I was stronger. I was faster. So, but now, that was at 45. Now at 60, I could still do some of the same stuff. However, I have to modify it.
Yeah.
But I'm still able to do certain things. And here's the thing. If you take your before and after pictures, now, you probably never have thought about doing that. But if somebody's watching and they start taking a before picture and an after picture and seeing the progression that they've made, they're going to actually continue working out because now they've seen the change. Mm-hmm. Because that hard work pays off. Now, I don't think you've ever been heavy, have you?
No.
Yeah.
I actually started out very light and had a mild eating disorder in high school. And so then I started working out, and I educated myself, and that's when I realized it's not about 2 hours of cardio a day and limiting calories. It's actually eating more, working out, and I wanted the more muscular fit tone. My before and afters would have been very, very, very different.
Yeah. When you talk about you changing your diet and eating differently and working out and not doing cardio, you probably don't like cardio.
I enjoy it to an extent. I don't like doing hours of cardio. I will do 20, 25 minutes, and that's about it. And
your favorite is to lift weights, is it not?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mine too. My wife is the same way. She would rather lift weights. She feels like she's actually done something rather than running. That,
and it's because I'm goal oriented, but also I'm ADHD. And so running forever is not good for me.
Oh, are you? I'm just like you. I'm like that. I'll chase a squirrel. I don't like running. If somebody's not chasing me, I'm not running. So,
yeah.
Well, thank you so much for helping me do this.
Well, thank you.